Exactly. So I'm not sure if you have been playing around in Google Docs lately, but Google has created the option to insert these things called smart chips. Now, you can get to the smart chips using the shortcut at. So, just to give you an idea of all the different chips and what they do. So, if you put in the at symbol, it'll show you the option of some of your smart chips. So if I'm now, let's say, trying to plan my prize giving, and I want to say that this is happening on the 1st of June, there's a little date chip that I can pop in there. I can also add people, so I can say that the coordinating committee for this prize giving consists of myself and Carmen and Irene, and I can mention really anyone else in my contacts. You can even pop Ilonka in there. Then it has the option for you to insert calendar invites straight into your doc. So again, you can start with the at, or you can simply say insert and then choose smart chip and say calendar event. And let's say this is the calendar event for my planning meeting. I can link to that directly. And you'll notice that as soon as you put in a calendar block, let me pop that one in again so you can see better. Right, I'm going to say I want a calendar event. And then as soon as you put in the calendar event, if I hit my tab key, it gives me a kind of a little block with meeting notes that I can add in there, fully editable, so I can then go ahead and edit those meetings. I can also use Smart Canvas or the at mention to add files. So I'm going to add this copy of the award nominations sheets that we got together. We can also put in a location. So if it doesn't come up in the add menu where you want it to, you can always have a look for place. And I think we're going to put this at the Cape Town City Hall. There we go. And that then gives me a direct Google Maps link to the location. And then some great features for classroom work, but also for those principals that like to go on and on. There is the stopwatch feature, which gives us an opportunity to time our principals or for our students to time their activities. So these smart chips are a really great way that Google is bringing a whole bunch of features all into right into Docs. And you'll see there it's giving you the option to attach this document to the Google Calendar entry for this particular meeting. So nobody is sitting around for hours trying to figure out who is meant to be doing what and where. And then, as always, we can use the first add menu, which would be the tasks. So I'm going to make Irene responsible for the book prizes. I might even want to insert a little checklist so that we can mark off as it's done. This little drop-down menu gives me the option of project status or progress. So you'll see there's two here. Once I insert that menu, I can then say, okay, Irene is in progress with the book prizes, and Carmen needs to get the certificates done. And those little chips can indicate how far we are with progress, and everybody that has access to that can then go ahead and update the tasks as they do them.
And these chips can be used in Google Sheets, in all of the Google applications. And it just makes everything a lot nicer than having to put in those links, or the hyperlinks. Now you can actually see, okay, there's the spreadsheet with all of the prizes. Click on it, it will open it. And Lindsay, actually, if you open that one, you can see in the sheet that it also has like the list of names, who you are assigning what to with a checklist. You can do that in Google Sheets as well, which is really lovely.
In the smart chips menu, you've got the timers, which is really, really handy for something like this where your students are working on a task. Maybe they're rehearsing an oral, and it will ask you, they can indicate how long it's taken them to here we go, finally. Indicate how long it's taken them to rehearse an oral. Maybe you've given them a 5-minute limit. So you'll see here in this little GIF, it shows you, draft 1 took them 6 minutes. And now in the second run through, they can try and refine the time and get that down. And then coming soon is going to be voting chips. So in the meeting, you can vote for, or in a conversation, in a lesson, you can vote for what we should study next. You can vote for when the next meeting should be. We could even vote for who we want those prize-giving prizes to be awarded to. So that'll be appearing magically in Google Docs soon. And I think it's going to be a really useful thing. Rather than having to direct people outside to a Google form, you can actually have a quick vote or a quick poll right in your document.
In your agenda for the meeting, right? I think that will just make things so much easier. And then in sticking with the docs, the smart docs and the things that are there, we also have building blocks. Now, building blocks have been around for a while, but there are a few little new features that's been added to the building blocks. So let me actually share my screen here. If I'm in a Google Doc, you can see the building blocks are these little kind of tables that you can insert into a doc. So you'll go in the insert menu, find the building blocks, and then you can insert a review tracker, a project asset, a product roadmap. Basically, they're different words, but they all look more or less the same, and because you can customize them, right? So, for example, if you are moderating an exam, right, I think it is quite useful to put this on the first page and then start with your paper on page 2 so that you can list all the people who are supposed to look at the paper. You can insert one of these drop-down lists and you can tailor make them. So if I go insert a drop-down list here, it'll say, everything that I've used in the past will come up, but you can make your own. So if I'll just add review status, for example, and then you can add or edit the options. So for have you looked at the paper, I will have has it been approved, or have you checked and commented? Are you still reviewing it, or haven't you started? And then have a space for comments, perhaps, where you think something is not useful. This is great also for your papers that you can put in your portfolios at the end of the year. And as people have actually checked, they can change their status. I also think it's a really great thing if you are putting if you're giving assignments to the kiddos in classroom, to put something like I have here at the top of the page, right? So maybe the instructions at the top, and then insert the building block for student self-reflection, where you could list the things that you think they need to pay attention to in this essay. They were supposed to give 3 examples. You're looking at their punctuation. Did they write a good conclusion? Did they acknowledge their sources? And how did they feel about the preparation? Of course, you can change this to anything that you are specifically looking at. And then you can, again, edit these options about if it's about the introduction or if it's about the preparations. I was well prepared. I underestimated how much work it would be. So they can choose that. And they can give some feedback at the top of their because I think sometimes we give the rubrics, but it's quite nice if they have something and they have to actually engage with and say, yep, I checked my sources. Yep, I changed this to yes. And one more example that I think might be useful is when we have those dreaded group projects, right, where there's always the one person doing somewhat more than the others, then I think if we list them all in the, they can list the students that worked on the project together. They can say whether they contributed a lot or not, and they can say exactly what they did in the project, so that you also, when you look at the whole thing, have a better understanding of who did what and what went wrong. And they can also give their comments. And then, of course, like Lindsay said earlier, for
And
a
Tamsin just mentioned in the chat, she's like, project term is coming up. Now we can keep track.
exactly. So, and for a project organization, like Lindsay had the prize giving, right? Who's doing what? Who's putting what together? A person, again, have they started? Haven't they started? And making some notes along the side. And then again, you can obviously add your different chips in, like Lindsay had earlier. So I really think this is such a nice, slick way that Docs has changed. Definitely one of the bigger, nicer changes. What do you think?
Absolutely. I'd love to hear everyone else's ideas. Caroline says, where have you been, smart chips? Exactly.